You actually thought clicking empty trash deleted those files? Brilliant. Look, you've just handed a complete forensic roadmap of your life to a data scraper for less than the price of a cheap coffee. I mean, I'm peeling back the layers of that delete button today to show you why your digital bin is actually a goldmine for the world's most dangerous actors. We're talking about a permanent fossil record, one you're building right now without even knowing it. This isn't just some glitch. It's a feature of a system designed to never forget. See, when you click that little bin icon and hear that satisfying digital crunch, your operating system isn't actually scrubbing a thing. It's essentially just lying to you to keep the interface snappy, right? Look, think of your hard drive like a massive, sprawling library. When you delete a file, the librarian doesn't actually go back and burn the book. They simply walk over to the index card at the front desk, rip it up, and tell everyone the shelf space is now vacant. But the book? It's still sitting there, right where you left it, just waiting for anyone with a bit of technical curiosity to walk in and read your deepest secrets. In the world of cybersecurity, we call this data remnants. It's a digital ghost that simply refuses to leave the premises. And for the types of people stalking the dark web, look, this isn't just a technical quirk, it's a bloody massive opportunity. I mean, I've seen investigative teams buy bulk lots of used hard drives from eBay for next to nothing, only to find them packed with unencrypted corporate payrolls, private medical scans, and even government clearance forms. You see, whilst you're busy upgrading to the latest model, your old hardware is out there living a second life. Most people assume that a factory reset or a quick format is enough to wipe the slate clean. It's not. Not even close. I mean, unless you're quite literally shredding the drive into metallic confetti or using military-grade overriding algorithms, those bits and bytes are essentially immortal. Your trash isn't just garbage, mate. It's a high-definition blueprint of your entire existence, and you're handing the keys over without even realising the door was still unlocked. Look, the people who sold you the house are the same ones telling you the locks are state-of-the-art. I mean, let's talk about the corporate gaslight. You see, Silicon Valley has spent a staggering amount of money just to make you feel safe, through what I call the UI of cleanliness. You click a button, the trash can icon empties with that satisfying digital crunch, and you feel this momentary sense of relief. You assume the data is purged from existence, right? Now, it's a psychological masterstroke. But what you're looking at is nothing more than a digital facade. Look, the industry standard for years has been to reassure us that even some data persists, it's anonymized. They tell you it's just useless noise in a sea of billions. Mate, that is a bloody massive lie. In the world of cybersecurity, we know that anonymity is a fragile, crumbling illusion. I've actually seen researchers take just 5 supposedly anonymous data points, your zip code, your date of birth, and your gender, and use them to correctly identify 87% of the population. When you factor in your metadata, a mask quite literally falls off. This is the reality of the anonymity myth. You see, whilst corporations keep their front-facing servers lean to show off their efficiency, they're quietly funneling your digital exhaust into cold storage. They are hoarding petabytes of your deleted history in massive, high-security cooling sheds tucked away in the desert. If this data is truly as useless as they claim, then why are they fighting so hard to keep it? I mean, why spend millions on legal fees and lobbyists to gut privacy laws that would force them to actually delete it? It's because whilst you see a discarded message or a deleted browsing history, they see the training data for a predictive algorithm. An algorithm that knows your health status, your political leanings, and your next purchase before you even do. Look, they aren't keeping your trash because they're messy. They're keeping it because in the age of surveillance capitalism, your garbage is a gold mine.
But the way they're using that gold is far more sinister than a simple targeted advert. And that is where things get truly dark. Because once that data is stored, it becomes a target for a completely different kind of predator. And trust me, they are not looking to sell you a pair of shoes. I want you to think about a shredded document. To a human, it's just a pile of confetti. Just absolute rubbish, right? But to a forensic algorithm, it's a solvable puzzle. This is where we enter the realm of forensic reassembly. I mean, look, whilst you might think your deleted cache and discarded cookies are useless, neural networks see them as high-definition fragments of your identity. See, modern LLMs and pattern matching algorithms, they don't care about the content of your data as much as they care about the structure. We call this behavioral fingerprinting. I'm talking about micro movements you don't even realize you're making. The speed at which you scroll through a terms of service page, the specific millisecond delay between your keystrokes, the way your mouse cursor orbits a button before you click it. It's brilliant, and it's bloody terrifying. In the cybersecurity world, we call this the shadow identity. It's a digital twin, a mathematical ghost that lives in the servers of companies you've never even heard of. They aren't just tracking what you buy. They're simulating who you are. This algorithm takes those billions of data points, the trash you thought you threw away, and reassembles them into a profile so accurate, it's actually daunting. You think you'd be clever by using a VPN or opening an incognito window? Think again, mate. You could be on a fresh machine in a different country, but the second you start interacting with a page, your behavioral pulse gives you away. Within milliseconds, the system realizes it's you. It recognizes the rhythm of your digital life. You're not a fresh user. You're just a fragment that's finally been slotted back into the master file. It's quite literally a digital fingerprint that you cannot wash off. But here's the truly terrifying part. This shadow identity doesn't just know who you were yesterday. Because it's powered by predictive neural networks, it starts to understand your trajectory. It knows when you're about to quit your job, when your relationship is failing, or when you're becoming vulnerable to a specific type of influence. It predicts your next move better than you can, because it isn't blinded by your ego. It only sees the cold, hard data.
If the algorithm knows what you're going to do before you do it, do you really have free will anymore? Or are you just following a script written by your own discarded data? Now look, as deep as this rabbit hole goes, there's a layer even further down. It involves the people buying this reassembled data on the dark web, and believe me, their intentions are far more predatory than any corporate algorithm. Look, I want to take you somewhere most people only see in sensationalized headlines. We're heading into the basement of the internet, into the forums where your discarded data isn't just rubbish, it's high-value inventory. In the world of cybersecurity, there's a specific class of predator that I find, well, honestly, it's daunting. They're called initial access brokers, or IABs. See, while the typical script kiddie is busy trying to brute force your password with some leaked database, these guys, they're playing a much more sophisticated game. They don't need your password. They need your trash. You see, when you delete a file or clear your cache, you think it's gone, right? Wrong. In reality, you're just leaving fragments. To an initial access broker, these fragments are like DNA at a crime scene. They scrape the web for your deleted history, old support tickets, and discarded metadata to build what they call a digital heartbeat.
This is quite literally a profile of your behavior that's so precise, it can mimic your exact patterns of life. Think about it. You've got two-factor authentication enabled, so you feel safe. You think the wall is too high to climb. But these brokers, they use your trash to craft the perfect social engineering attack. They don't hack the machine. They hack the person using the machine. They know which IT professional you spoke to last month because of a single discarded email fragment. They even know your tone of voice from a leaked voice memo. When they call you or your company's help desk, they aren't guessing. They're reciting your own life back to you. It's a brilliant, albeit bloody massive, nightmare. They're using your own discarded history to bypass 2FA by convincing the system that they are you, simply because they know things only you should know. Every bite you think you've thrown away is actually a brick in a wall you can no longer climb over. For these hackers, your data is an asset that never expires. It just sits on a digital shelf, waiting for the highest bidder to use it against you. So, how do you fight an enemy that knows your deleted secrets? How do you protect a digital heartbeat that you didn't even know you were transmitting? It's a terrifying prospect. But as deep as this dark web harvest goes, the brokers are only the middlemen. They provide the access. But the people who actually buy that access, well, they have a much more global, much more systemic endgame in mind. Look, whilst we all imagine hackers as hoodie-wearing ghosts hiding in basements, the real threat to your future is likely sitting in a sleek glass office in Silicon Valley. I'm talking about the rise of the algorithmic headhunter. You see, the modern HR department has moved way beyond a simple LinkedIn search. I mean, they're now outsourcing their due diligence to background check startups that treat your legal rubbish as their primary gold mine.
Think about the paradox here. You spend years trying to curate this perfect professional image, right? Deleting that cringy post from 2016, scrubbing your old forum accounts. But in the eyes of a cybersecurity-driven AI, that vacuum you've created is actually a bloody massive red flag. These systems are literally designed to find the gaps. When they cross-reference a leaked database from a site you once used with your current clean profile, that discrepancy becomes the data point. It suggests you have something to hide. It suggests you're a liability. Look, you are quite literally losing your digital autonomy in real time. These scavengers don't care about your growth or the fact that you're a different person now. Mate, to them, your deleted data is a permanent asset that proves you're unreliable. If a hacker leaked a private message you sent a decade ago during a breach you've completely forgotten about, that message is now part of a risk assessment score. It could keep you out of a job before you've even walked into the interview room. It's a daunting prospect, but it is already happening. The haunting reality is that the more we try to clean our digital lives, the more breadcrumbs we leave for the scavengers to follow. You aren't just deleting a file, you are creating a silence that speaks louder than the data ever did. It's a digital scar that refuses to fade. But if you think your career is the only thing on the line, well, you're missing the bigger picture. Because this data isn't just being used to judge who you are today, it is being used to predict exactly who you will be tomorrow. Tense, however, there was one detail everyone missed. A detail that turns this from a privacy concern into a full-blown crisis of human agency. Look, the illusion of the trash can icon is perhaps the most brilliant and bloody terrifying piece of social engineering in computing history. You see, when you drag a file into that little digital bin and click empty,
You aren't actually destroying anything. You're simply telling the operating system that it's okay to ignore that specific cluster of ones and zeros. For now. It's the greatest UI trick ever played, right? Because it gives us a sense of closure that simply does not exist in the physical world. In reality, you're just painting over a window and hoping nobody bothers to scrape off the crust. Is the convenience worth it? Honestly, mate, it's a bloody nightmare. We've traded our digital permanence for a false sense of security, and the cost is starting to come due. Look, if you are treating your trash data like a hazardous waste leak, you are already compromised. See, in the subcultures of the dark web, there are entire marketplaces dedicated to forensic reconstruction. Scrapers don't just want your active files, they want your shadows. They want the cached thumbnails of photos you thought you deleted 5 years ago. They want the temporary logs of conversations you assumed were gone the moment you closed the tab. In the age of AI, this becomes the most daunting. You see, large language models and pattern recognition algorithms don't need a complete brain to understand who you are. They can stitch together the fragments of your discarded data to build a digital twin that is more accurate than your own memory. Nothing is ever truly gone, whilst the recovery tool can still find a heartbeat on your SSD.
The verdict is simple. Stop trusting the icon. If you want something gone, you have to be intentional. Secure your hardware, encrypt your cache until it's a garbled mess, and stop believing the hype that delete means disappear. In this digital dystopia, the scrapers are always watching, waiting for the moment you get lazy with your housekeeping. I want you to think about that the next time you clear your browser history or empty your bin. What will your trash say about you tomorrow? Because while you've moved on, the data has stayed behind, waiting for the right person to come looking for it. Look, if you found this deep dive into the digital abyss useful, well, you know what to do. Stay skeptical, stay secure, and I'll see you in the next one.